How you doing, everybody? Shady Crusader here. Coming on video tonight to talk about context. I've mentioned context before in a video somewhere. I don't know if it's still around or not, called A War on Words. Of course, F it all to poop, for lack of a. I'm trying to refrain from swearing as much as possible here because of who I'm responding to. I'm responding to Jesus Freak. So I'll try to keep this as clean as possible, except where I might have to use one to explain context. Now, obviously, the video that Jesus Freak played in this video that I'm responding to, obviously, I could tell right away Jesus Freak was pretty darn offended. I'm pretty sure if he wasn't a very religious man, he would have went over there, found out where this guy is that taught this kid to say this, and beat the living dirt out of him, to put it like that. So context. Now, obviously, as I've said before, Jesus Freak and I have totally different opinions, totally different beliefs, total opposites here. But obviously, even Jesus Freak, the religious man that he is, if I was to go into his comments section and say, Jesus Freak, you're a fucking awesome guy, to put it like that. If I was to say to Jesus Freak that he's an effing awesome guy, obviously he would be a heck of a lot less offended than if I was to go to that same video and tell Jesus Freak to go F himself. Okay? Less offended. Different meaning. Obviously the first choice of words, Jesus Freak, you're effing awesome, still includes the F word, but less offensive. Jesus Freak, of course, if I was to say he's effing awesome, would come back and say, Shady, I appreciate your compliment, but please refrain from using the F word in my comment section. I comment back, I apologize, Jesus Freak, I didn't mean to offend you. I wasn't trying to offend you, but obviously you're offended, so I'll use a cleaner comment next time, to put it simply. Then, of course, if I was to use the more offensive use of that same word and say, Jesus Freak, go F yourself, he would comment back, Shady Crusader 2, you're blocked. That's simple. That's simple. I mean, same if we were to use a lesser violent word, which I'm pretty sure would be safe to use even here. If I was to say the same thing, Jesus Freak, you're a hell of a guy. Now, obviously hell is not as violent as the F word, but still, there's a better way to say Jesus Freak is awesome. Okay, there's a better way to say that he's a great guy. Maybe he would be offended, maybe not so much. But he would rather, he would rather hear that than to hear someone say, hey, go rot in hell. That would obviously anger him to a really large extent. I mean, heck, even the B word has different meanings. Two separate meanings. Now we'll use that one on and off because of the context here. Obviously, if I was on YouTube and I happen to, if in some hypothetical situation, if I happen to be a dog breeder on YouTube and I mention a bitch and Jesus Freak happened to cross that video, obviously he wouldn't be offended at all because, you know, I'm talking about a dog here. I'm talking about a canine. Gotta be scientific. I'm a dog breeder. Come on. Now, if I happen to mention that same exact word, that same exact B word, in the context that I usually use it, and Jesus Freak saw that, yeah. Oh boy. Guess what? He would be offended too. High heaven. Context. I mean, we're talking about the difference between Bono's use of the F word and my use of the F word. We'll put it that way to summarize a video like that. Bono's use versus mine. I use the F word out of anger sometimes. Sometimes I use the F word in situations like I mentioned the example where I say something is effing awesome. Something is effing great, effing wonderful. You get the idea. Offensive, yes, but a lot less offensive than saying on camera, go F yourself. You're an effing idiot. That would be, you know, heck of a lot more offensive. It's a violent word directed at whatever YouTuber I happen to respond to, or whatever YouTuber I happen to talk about in general. Don't even have to be a response. And my computer is trying to install updates here, and it's going to restart pretty soon, so I'll go ahead and end this and just say I'm out of here. Flip it all to pieces. Yes, flip it. Obviously, certain things can flip to the point at a certain speed to where they would fall to pieces. So, flip it all to pieces. That was the worst outro I've used. I think the other F word was better, but I'll use that for a different response to somebody else. I'm out. Bye. This whole context and curse word thing is and responding to a religious person is twisting my language all to, well, pieces. I hope I can still say pieces and not offend anybody. That was just dumb. I'm out.